Good morning, everyone. Hello, my name is Karen Williams and welcome to our breakfast event this morning where you get to stop, pause, breathe, take a moment to reflect, reset and refresh. So I want to welcome you into this conversation this morning from my home in Melbourne in stage 4 lockdown to wherever you are. I'm really excited to be with you and thank you for making time for investing in yourself this morning. I can see that lots of people are jumping on, so welcome to you all. Welcome if you've never been here before and you're here for the first time. We normally don't come from my kitchen, but we are while we're in lockdown in stage 4 in Melbourne. So it's great to have this intimate connection with you and have a conversation on a Friday morning. So welcome if this is your first time. I'm a coach, trainer and speaker and author, and I work with organisations to help leaders and teams work well together. And I also work specifically with women in leadership and business, helping them lead and influence with confidence, presence and awareness. So it's a beautiful work that I've been doing and blessed to have been doing now for the last 20 years in the space of transformation, personal growth. And I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit about what I know and what I've learned over that time with you this morning. So if it's your first time, really welcome you and thank you for trusting yourself and jumping in, or trusting someone who recommended you. It's a Friday morning and it's early, but it's getting lighter in the mornings these days. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and comments as we go through the session this morning. Welcome to those who have been here before, and I'm excited to say hello. And I know that there's some people already saying hello. So good morning, Lily. If you'd like to let me know that you're here, I'd love to hear from you in the chat box. Just say hello, thumbs up that you can hear me, so I know that we're connected. And so if you're back here since you've been maybe here before and you've come back, or you've been here all the way through our lockdown period since March, we've been doing these online events. If you're here every time, well done to you. I'm so excited for you about what's possible in your life when you implement this work. So each session grows on each other, doesn't it? Because things that you share and things that I'm hearing really inspire me to bring this next topic to you. And today is about how do we stay powerful in our own self-empowerment when those around us may not be feeling so powerful. So that's the topic for today. So just checking comments. So welcome. Thank you so much for saying hello. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Anne. Hi, Kelly. Helen. Hello, Elaine. Hello, Bree, Daisy, Vicky, Georgie, Sally, hello, Jaspreet, lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for saying hello. And so through the session this morning, you're welcome to share your thoughts and comments in the chat box and also ask your questions. And because I'm managing the whole space today, I probably won't see all of your questions, but I'll attempt to do the best that I can and answer them if we have time, or otherwise I might address it in a next topic, or I just don't take it personally if I don't get to your comment or your question, because it's not meant personally. It's just that I might not have seen it, because we usually have lots of comments and they speed through pretty quickly. So let me see what else that I want to say. So if we haven't met before, make sure that you've got your notebook and your pen with you. I've had some people jump on who haven't had anything to write with, and then a few minutes into the conversation, they're off running to get their notebook to take some notes because they've had insights, or they've heard something that's valuable for them, or someone shared a comment that they've seen that's been valuable. So all of those things are really helpful. So let me just see. So these breakfast events, I'm just letting people jump on. These breakfast events are space for you to stop, pause, breathe. I had some conversations this week with some people who shared with me how much they're loving this Friday morning, just check in with themselves and just a moment to take an hour away from the family, from the chaos of their lives, from homeschooling, or from the chaos in their head. For myself, living alone, sometimes it gets pretty chaotic in my own mind. So taking some time away from that is really helpful. To have a conversation that is about self-empowerment, that's different to maybe everything else that you're watching, whether that's on the news or in the media or on your social network or on Netflix. This is a different kind of conversation. So I invite you to throw yourself in and see what you might discover about yourself and about what's possible for you. So thank you everyone for jumping on, saying hello, and let's move into a couple of things I want to share with you before we go into the conversation. So I sent a gift to everyone this week who has been part of our breakfast community. So we've had over, I think it was over 500 people that have been part of this community over the last few months. And so I sent a gift out to you to say thank you so much for trusting me, jumping in and having an experience together. So I hope you received that gift. If you didn't, we'll send it again with the recording of this session, and hopefully you'll receive it. It was inspired by someone who actually shared with me that one of my Instagram posts was very helpful, and she wrote the things out and put them on her fridge. So I thought that that might be helpful for you as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know maybe in the chat box if you did receive it. That would be helpful, because I know about 5 people received it because I received some thank yous, but I'm hoping everyone did. All right, so as you know, my passion is to create a community of people who are having uplifting, empowering conversations at work and at home and in our families and communities, so that we can come together with our full power, our full empowerment, and create together something that has never existed before, new possibilities, new ideas. From that place, anything is possible. And I've learned that over my time as a coach, and especially in my time when I was facilitating difficult conversations in the justice system, because someone who'd committed a crime and someone who was a victim of the crime, you would never think that those people would actually be able to move through their strong emotions and at the end of that conversation be hugging and crying and wishing each other well, authentically. And so that really instilled for me that anything is possible inside of an uplifting, empowered, responsible conversation. So that's why I do this work, and that's why I have these conversations with you, because I'm interested in meeting with people who are up for these kind of conversations. So that's really important to me, and that's why I do this work. So how this session will go, there's 3 things. We'll be thinking about what self-empowerment and power means to us. So what is power to you? And sometimes people have a negative response to that word. But when I talk about power, it's about power from the inside out, not power over someone or doing anything to someone, as in someone's more powerful than another. It's about a self-empowerment state. Yeah. So we'll be thinking about what power is. I'll be asking, so the doing of today will be, there's 7 clarity cues, which by that I mean 7 truths about empowerment that you may or may not like. So we'll see about that when we get into that conversation. There's sometimes they can be hard-hitting truths that we haven't thought of before, or maybe have thought of but wanted to avoid. And then you'll leave with awareness around that for yourself, and also the 3 things, the 3 circles of power, which will help you reflect on what you need to tweak to help yourself stay empowered when others around you may not be feeling so empowered, and how you can serve and support them. Because what happens for us, because we're such caring human beings, is that we'll try and make things better for someone else, or we'll think that there's something that we have to do to fix it, or we'll try and convince people that it's okay. Brené Brown talks about at least it's not this, which is very diminishing. And if we can just have our experience and let people have their experience, that can be really powerful and help people find their own self-empowerment. So you'll learn a little bit about how to facilitate that kind of space for people. And also then you'll think about, what it is, where you want to give your energy, and knowing that you're responsible for choosing where you give your energy, maybe having some reflection around that as well. All right, so I hope that that's why you're here and that will be helpful for you. So excellent. Thank you so much thank you for letting me know that you got the gift. Thank you so much. All right, so the 3 things for transformation are implementation, so practicing, or immersion, learning, so that's today, practicing, which is implementation, and then integration, okay? So if you've written this down before, I'm going to give it to you again, but I want to also give it to the people who haven't seen it before, and maybe black's better than blue. We do this from my kitchen because it's the best light, but it doesn't always create the best light on the board. So I'm hoping you can see that. So when we're talking about personal growth and transformation, and especially when I'm speaking with leaders and managers about this, is that because a lot of the time leaders and managers try and change the behaviour of their people by motivating or convincing or pumping people up or revisiting over and over again what's required. And that means that if that hasn't made a shift in someone's mind, so they haven't actually shifted their own thinking that's going to shift their behavior. So like a stretched elastic band, when the leader starts to do the training and they think that people have understood, a day, a week, a month, or 3 months later, the leader goes back and the person's gone back to what they've always done, like an elastic band that's sprung back to its natural state. And so, or its resting state. And it's not necessarily the person's fault, it's just because this thinking hasn't shifted for them. So when we talk about growth and transformation, our conversations here today are the first step, aren't they? And so that's about immersing yourself in new content. So immersion, yep. The second step is then you have to implement. And someone was sharing with me this week, I've been coming to your breakfast events and I love them. And so thank you, I'm so pleased that they're helpful for you. But I'm finding that I'm getting stuck in some ways, I'm not implementing, and that's okay. If that's happening for you, be gentle on yourself. It's because you haven't done the flip yet, and that usually takes coaching. There's no getting around it. It actually takes some accountability and a place of healthy tension where you can implement when you don't feel like it because you've got an accountability framework, yeah? Because we won't change unless we get uncomfortable. So this is the place of discomfort. Yep, so this is implementation. So leaders and managers, be noting this for yourself when you're wanting to shift the behaviour of your people or tap into their potential. You need immersion, which is maybe your training. You need the implementation, so you need to coach them on the job, or you need to make sure you're setting milestones and following up and having really accountability conversations. So you do those two things until we integrate. Yeah, so the integration is, so this is thinking, this is doing, and this is being, okay? So integration is when we become it, when we be it, and that's when we've shifted our thinking, so then we're interdependent, and that interdependence means that we drive a new behaviour within ourselves. And so personal transformation, whether that's at work or at home, takes those three things, which is why just reading a book or showing up to a seminar doesn't often work. We've got to do the 3 steps, okay? So that's really important for today. So just give me a thumbs up that you're getting this so far. I know some of you would have seen this before, but many of you wouldn't have. And just let me know in the chat box that this is making sense. Great, thank you. All right, so let's get into today's topic. Thumbs up, thanks Georgie. Rita, thank you, awesome, love it, thank you. Excellent work, thank you so much. All right, so what is power? What is power to you? I'm going to ask you to write that down in your notebook. When you would have seen today's session and read the Eventbrite page and been thinking about coming in today, even if you hadn't had much time to think about that, but I want you to think about now, what is power to you? So just write that down. What is power? And I'll give you a moment to think about that. Great, thanks for popping in the chat box. Welcome to pop it in the chat box. To be ahead of others, interestingly, the ability to say no, power is self-belief, self-responsibility, feeling clear and strong. Thanks, Kelly. Sophia says feeling confident. Peace of mind, ownership, influence, standing in my own truth and acting from that place. Beautiful, beautiful sharing. Internal versus external experiences that impact others around us. Yes. Yeah, okay, cool. Beautiful sharing. Courage and confidence. So we have this sense of what self-empowerment is, yeah? If we tap into how we want to feel, it's a state of expansion and a state of being really centered. So when it comes to power, and the kind of power that you and I are now talking about, strength that dominates your consciousness. Beautifully shared. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. It comes from, for me, it comes from owning our strengths. And so you can add this to your list if you like. Owning our strengths and our gaps and opportunities, right? Equally. So owning what we do really well, like being okay with that. And when someone acknowledges that, owning that and accepting and receiving that praise or that recognition or acknowledgement. So owning our strengths, yeah, I'm really good at this, let me do it. Or actually, know what, I'm not really good at this at all, can you help me? So, and owning that, owning out what I call our whole story with no apology or no explanation or justification needed, that to me is true empowerment. Yeah. So when we can own those places equally, where we don't have that, you know, that twinge of, oh, I need to hide something, or that inauthentic feeling like we've got to operate over the top of something, or a pretense. Yes. So it's that. So it's the opposite of that. It's just that beautiful feeling of being able to accept all of ourselves. So for me, it's a real place of self-acceptance. I'm hoping you can see the board okay. Let me know if you can't. And it's a state of awareness. So owning our triggers, knowing our triggers, and then owning our triggers, yeah? Because if we know and own our triggers, we can feel that feeling when we're, what I would call when we're off. So that feeling of disempowerment, or like we're trying to make up for something that's wrong with us, or overcompensate for something we think is broken or needs fixing within us. And so when we can own our triggers, like, oh, there's that thing, there's that not good enough thing. There's that thing that I always do in this situation with this person that sends me down a tunnel. So then we can own it in the moment and catch it in the moment, own it, and then choose something else. That's real empowerment. And it doesn't mean it's perfect and we do it all the time. Certainly not. I still catch myself all the time going down tunnels and don't always catch myself in the moment. But a state of empowerment and a commitment to a state of empowerment is the discipline of actually wanting to catch those things as opposed to wanting to run away from them or hide from them. And the way that we do that is tuning into our feelings and emotions that we've done work on before in these sessions, because that helps us understand when we're feeling on or aligned or off, misaligned. Yeah, makes sense? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. And being real with our feelings. What did I say? Our feelings and our needs. Right, so being real with our feelings and our needs. Right now I'm feeling this. Or right now what I need is, I need to take a moment out of this meeting. Actually, I need to just pause, and can we loop back around later? Or what I really need to say something that I don't feel is being heard here. Can I just have 5 minutes before I get interrupted? You know, those sorts of things, when we're able to do that in a clean way and we're not making anyone wrong underneath the surface, then we can be heard and we can stay in our self-empowerment. And can you see that that's a beautiful way to role model for others how to be in their empowerment as well? Because it's about a clean, unattached energy that's not got that doesn't have a make wrong underneath that. And I was talking about make wrong with someone yesterday, a beautiful, amazing, powerful leader. And she was asking, what is make wrong? And so make wrong is when there's that charge underneath that we're, you know, kind of a pushing back energy rather than just owning our state of empowerment. Yeah. Well, the make wrong is someone else is wrong and I'm right. And that there's a charge in that that's not healthy or it's not clean, and actually usually leaves someone else feeling like something's sort of been spat on them or something like that. Okay. Makes sense to everyone? All right. Anything else that you want to add to what is power? Let me know in the chat box if there's anything else that you want to add or any questions that you have, anything you want me to go deeper on there. I think we're all good. Everyone's thinking today. All right. So that's the first step, to be clear on what empowerment is, because when we're thinking about others being not feeling so strong or confident or positive or optimistic at the moment, and we all have those moments, power, staying in our empowerment, is that piece where we can stay here and not feel like we need to tone ourselves down, clip our wings, or maybe make it better for someone else or feel what they're feeling. Yep. So we just need to be clear on what empowerment is first. Releasing the need to seek others' approval. Beautiful. Thank you, Georgie. I love Georgie. I love how you're, Georgie's usually the one right behind the scenes doing all the stuff. She's participating today, which is fantastic. Wyatt says, power's being nice. Hello, Wyatt. I love you. So good to see you. Can you type in the chat box, Wyatt, how old you are? To remind me, because I want to share with everyone how old you are. Wyatt's in New Zealand with his mum, Vicky, and they often come to our breakfast events, and it's so beautiful to know that you're here, Wyatt. Thank you for your share. And so we've got a good sense of what empowerment is. I'm 5, nearly 6. Love you, Wyatt. So good to see you. It's so great. All right, so we know what power is. So now we want to talk about why is it important, okay? So I want you to write down in your notebooks why, for you as a leader, a manager, or part of a team, or an influencer, someone who wants to influence us across or up or down, or someone who in your life, you want to influence your family maybe in the way that you think, or your friends. So have a think about why being in our empowerment like this and what you've written down on your list is important. Take a moment to write that down. And you're welcome to share it in the chat box if you like as well. Great question. Can we park that, Antonella? Remind me again, Antonella. That's a great... Georgie, can you capture that question from Antonella? Because it's a great question. And if we don't respond to it today, which I'll try a little bit, we'll do it later. Kath says, Nelson Mandela said, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Absolutely. Which is exactly what we're talking about today, Kath. Helps me to stay honest, to relate to others with openness and acceptance. Beautiful, Catherine. Thanks, Georgie. Allows us to be true to ourselves, live our why, facilitates empowered choices. Yeah. Beautiful. In this kind of culture of cancel culture, what's cancel culture? Staying in our own power is so much more. Brings up others. Yes. How to diffuse someone's abusive implication and they try to put you down in the team meeting. Okay, cool. So you've got a sense of why it's important. And so for me, why it's important is that it's a sustainable state. And what I mean by that, yes, it takes discipline. Yes, it takes conscious awareness and a commitment to ongoing personal growth on a daily basis. But it's sustainable in that because we're not trying to, we're not pushing our energy out to try and help someone or fix them. We're not trying to motivate them or change them. We're actually not avoiding them. So because when we're avoiding someone because they might not be feeling so good, so we don't want to be around their energy, we're not avoiding them because we might have to engage with them at work, but avoiding them takes more energy. So being in it doesn't mean, and I'll come to this later, it doesn't mean we need to let those people in and zap our energy, but we don't have to actively avoid them either to stay empowered. And so it's a sustainable state. It's a self-fulfilling sustainable state. Yeah. Inspiring to self and others. Yep. It's an authentic connection. Why is it important? Is because it's an authentic connection as opposed to a codependent state. And what I mean by that is we're sourcing our empowerment from within our own mind, what we're telling ourselves, how we're choosing to respond to things, how we're choosing to respond to decisions made by our organisation that we need to align to. We can get to choose what's going on in our mind about the things coming at us, because we know that we have very little control of what's coming at us, but we have all control about how we respond at work and at home. Yes. So the connection state is a moment by moment state with self. Codependency means something else or someone else has to change for me to feel better. So why is self-empowerment important? Is because then I'm not relying on anyone else to change or anything else to be different to me actually feeling empowered. And that's the most important thing about self-empowerment in our ongoing day-by-day state of ability to lead, connect, communicate, and influence. Yes. And also our own health and well-being. And so this distinction is really important because often we think that helping someone or trying to, we're not consciously trying to fix people, but it does come across like that. If we're trying to make it better for them, that's codependency. And the reason is because, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a moment, we're trying to fix them or make them better so we feel good too. We think it's a complete state of service, but it's not. We want to feel better, and we know that when they feel better, we'll feel better. And so that we try and make them feel better because we know it's going to make us feel better. Now, this is all unconscious, but it's codependency. We need to let go of all of that if we're going to be in our own self-empowered state in a way that's healthy and allows others to rise as well when they choose to. I hope you're with me on this because that was a lot in that little short space. But that connection versus codependent state is really important. Let me know if that makes excellent. That makes sense? Great, excellent. And also we can have the greatest influence and impact when we're there. And I know that you know that because in your comments that you've shared that. So when I'm in my self-empowered state, I'm listening. And as Antonella shared before, if someone's coming at me with a make wrong, if I'm in my self-empowered state and I'm listening, sure, I might get triggered, but I'm listening out for my triggers. I'm present so that I can catch myself sooner. Because it's not my job to push back on them. If I try and push back on them, what I resist persists. So it's just going to keep coming at me. So it's a bit like a flow state where if a make wrong's coming at me, I can go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they would say that. I wonder why that's going on. Now, that's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but a self-empowered state allows us to do that more often. Yeah? Let me know if this is helping. All right. So what is power? Why is it important? And the last question I want to give you is what happens if we don't have it? Okay. So now I want you to write in your book, what happens if we don't have self-empowerment? So write that down. Or if there's anything in that last piece you wanted me to clarify, ask me that as well. I tell you, it's kind of weird doing it in my kitchen, and I can see I'm going in and out of the light, so I apologise for that. But we're doing our best, aren't we? So what happens if we don't have it? What happens if we don't have self-empowerment? Drained and depleted. I'll give you a moment. What happens for you when you're not empowered? Not aligned. And what happens when you're not aligned, Sophia? Can be dragged into others' negativity. Yeah, absolutely. Look to others to meet my needs and victim thinking is more frequent. Yes. Lose confidence. Yep. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Catherine. So what happens if we don't have it? We seek external validation without knowing it. So you might have heard me say in the past, and I'll put it in here because it's relevant, we all have an unanswerable question. It's something I learned in my journey when I first started my personal growth journey in a big way 20 years ago. We all have an unanswerable question based on, you know, our upbringing and conditioning. And so it's some version of not good enough or am I good enough? So my version is, do you want me, right? So that unanswerable question, no matter how much I'm told I'm wanted, for example, not now, but before when I didn't know it, that would always drive me. And so it would drive my thinking and behavior in relationships and even in family and even at work. And so, do you want me? I was always looking out for evidence of that. And so that was an unhealthy seeking of external affirmation. Yeah. And so therefore I wasn't in my own self-empowerment because I was seeking power or a feeling of power, of feeling empowered outside of myself. And that our unanswerable question can never be fulfilled, no matter how much we're told we're enough or we're wanted or we're loved. Yeah. So it's understanding our unanswerable question can be really helpful. That sounds really bright, isn't it? So we seek external validation when we're not in our state of empowerment. And we, like I said before, with the codependency, we rely on others to behave in a certain way. And we get triggered more often. You think about home, when you're getting triggered at the moment when we're in some version of lockdown or restrictions, when we get triggered by each other more often, yes, or more quickly, our buttons are closer to the surface, rely on others to behave differently. And so therefore, then we blame or project and at work especially as well, that if only they would do things differently, this would turn out. I don't think I can change that sun. That's going to have to stay there for the moment. So we're seeking for others to behave differently so that we feel like we can do things better, we can get better results, we feel like we're on track with the project that we're managing, for example. So all of those things go into relying on others to behave differently, yeah? This is going to be interesting in the recording, Georgie. It's light. Okay, we seek connection. So we seek sameness. When we're not in our empowerment, we seek sameness in others. So we want others to feel the same as we do. So have you ever had that experience where others might be feeling disempowered or low and they're seeking to bring you down with them because it feels better when we're all down in the ditch together? They don't mean it. They're not doing it intentionally, and we all do it. You would have done it yourself at some point. And so we seek that sameness when we're not in our clean state, awake state of self-empowerment. Yeah. And so we kind of gather people around us to feel the same. And then, like I said before, we either try and fix, save, overcompensate for people, yeah, or for behavior. Or we shut off. The more dominant leaders will shut off. So the nurturer leaders will try and make it better for people because they care so much and want everyone to be happy and harmony. And those who are more dominant leaders or what I call dictator leaders, they'll probably shut off and just avoid people. Just sort yourself out, come back to me when you're on, right? So that can be what we do when we're not in our state of self-empowerment. You with me? My pleasure, Rita. Okay, thank you for the time check. Loss of purpose, thank you. Lose focus on preset goals. Yes, so we've got goals, but then it kind of gets blurry. Is that still the goal? I don't think I want to do that anymore. We might give up on things. We self-doubt and question ourselves. So yes, all very good sharing. Thank you. Is this helping? Is this helping so far? Let me know in thumbs up. All right, see me seeking external validation. I just need to know I'm on track. All right, so now what happens if we don't do it is this. Now I want to give you, to build on this, I want to give you the 7 clarity cues, or otherwise known as the 7 real truths of self-empowerment, okay? I'm going to rub this off. So just take a moment to gather your thoughts and reflect on your notes so far. Life is imperfect. Making so much sense. Excellent, Bray. Thank you. Thumbs up. Very good. Thank you. All right. Excellent work, everyone. Well done. This is a complex topic, isn't it? But I know that you're really moving through it beautifully with what you're sharing. And I want you to know that you are welcome to share as much or as little as you like. And if it's a stretch for you to share, it might be time for you to share, because I know that a lot of people attend these events and haven't shared yet. So everyone would love to hear what you've got to say. And when you're ready, we'll listen with open ears. All right. So now I want to give you the 7 clarity cues. Remember I said these are things that you might not like, but that's okay. But it's going to help you understand how to stay in your power when others aren't feeling so powerful. Because yes, we want to have compassion and empathy, but we don't want to collapse. This is a really good word. We don't want to collapse into the energy of another. So self-empowerment is the opposite to collapsing into someone else's energy, whether that's at home or at work. You with me? So understand that distinction is really important. Okay, so the first one is we are responsible. So these things I want you to write down, please. It's kind of like a checklist, something for you to check off yourself in a day when you might be feeling a little bit less powerful. I'm going to try and move this light. So I'm going to ask you to all entertain yourselves for a moment, because this light is really annoying me. And I'm just going to see if I can get rid of it. Without moving anything. Karen, why didn't you do that 20 minutes ago. Is that better? Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So thank you for the patience on that. We are responsible for our own state, right? Now, you know that. But can you be that about another when you can see another who is disempowered? Can you be that they are responsible for their own state too? Because that will help you serve them and support them as opposed to collapse into their energy. You with me? So we are responsible for our own state is our first one. Feel free to ask questions or share when we go down, okay? It's not our job, and this goes for family and friends and team. It's not our job to make others happy. Mums and dads, it's important for you to know. What, Karen? How dare you say that? It's not our job to make others happy. This is where we start to unravel the codependent relationships we have in our lives that we don't know that we have, because we, especially with family, and also as a leader, we can feel like it's our job to make everything okay, especially the nurturer leaders, to make everyone okay and make everyone feel better. So so what we do often when we're giving that much, we go into a disempowered state of pulling back then, as opposed to a healthy state of realizing we're doing that and coming back to center. Yeah. So it's not our job to make others happy is an important mantra or statement of awareness to keep handy or close to you, because it will remind you when you're saying just collapse into another's energy. Yes. So that was a big one for me when I realized that it's not my job to make my family happy. And that freed me completely. And it took a while to get to that place, but it's as relevant in leadership as it is in our family relationships. Now, the next piece is it's not their job to make you happy, right? So as I said before, part of you wanting to make others feel better is because you'll feel better. But it's not someone else's job to change their behavior for us to feel happy or to feel better or to feel empowered or clean or clear. Yes, it's no one else's job to do that. So Antonella, in your question before, when you said what happens when someone's coming at me with a make wrong, potentially in there's a little bit of a make wrong back to them. And so it's not their job to change to make you happy or any of us happy or feel empowered. It's our job to keep finding our state of connection back with ourselves. I'm off. Okay, what am I telling myself? Come back to center. Yeah, that is that's a cadence of leadership where we need to be responsible for our own energy and our own state of empowerment. Is this when leaders overcompensate? Potentially, yes. And especially, Kath, the nurturer energy. So if you remember my framework, some people have seen it, some people haven't. I'm just thinking of where I'll put it. I have a framework when I work with leaders and teams called the partner model. And I won't do it all now, but there's a nurturer here, a dictator here, a loner here, states of leadership, and a partner here. We want to be in partner model, which is equal measures accountability and compassion. And those who are trying to make others happy are usually in the nurturer, but they're doing it in a way that they're depleting themselves. So they're overcompensating for gaps in the team. They're taking things back when their team don't know how to do it. They're giving solutions rather than asking questions. And they're stuck in the detail rather than elevating into strategy. And so that can be that nurture energy. We want to move to partner by holding people accountable. And we can only hold people accountable in a way that builds trust and builds engagement, has them buy in with us when we're doing it from a place of partner. Because we do it in dictator, nurture, or loner, we'll lose people. They might do it, but we'll lose trust and they'll disengage. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Great. Excellent. So the next piece, so you got that. It's not their job to make you happy either. Number 4. Okay, I said that before. Wanting others to feel better it's actually about us. So next time you're wanting others to feel better, think about why. Now, of course, you love people, especially family and friends. We want them to be happy and healthy and joyful. Of course, I'm not dismissing or invalidating any of that, but just notice where the attachment starts to come in, the attachment to them being a certain way so that you can feel better. When my kids are at home, then I won't worry about them being out. So therefore, when they're home, I can feel better, because when they're out, I'm scared and I worry. Now that's natural, but there's a state of attachment that can happen there where it just flips over into, I lose my empowerment because they're out and about, and when they're back, I'll feel empowered again. This isn't directed to anyone in particular. It just came up and came out of my mouth. So that's one example, right? So just noticing when that care turns into attachment, and therefore then we're attached as opposed to committed. So there's a distinction here called commitment versus attachment, right? So being committed rather than attached. Being committed is an empowered state. Being attached is a disempowered state. Just something to notice, right? Am I pushing any buttons so far? Let me see if there's anything. Incredible learning. Excellent, Jack. Oh, amazing. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I'm glad it's resonating. Can't see the board now. Ah, damn it. Because of the light? Yes. Okay, so thinking music. We were chasing the light. Now we've got way too much light. Thank you for being patient with me while I sort this out. This is what happens when we're at home. Okay. Thanks for the feedback, Antonella. Is that better? Oh, look. We need another hour now. You just got to roll with the punches, hey? All right. You ready? You got that? How are we going? I'm getting squished in the corner here. All right. Okay, cool. So number 5 is, write this down again, connection and codependency are different, are two different things. So when you're thinking that you're in an empowered state and someone's not in an empowered state, so therefore you react and you're then trying to help or avoid, then just know that connection, if you're looking for the connection there, just notice when you move into attachment rather than commitment, because that starts to then go into that codependency. Yes? Okay, number 6, true power is allowing all of our feelings. So it's allowing all of it. Oh, allowing all of it. Oh, there we go. That's better. Allowing all of our feelings and everybody else's feelings. So here's the big piece that I want you to get about this session today. And I hope everyone's listening, because this is something that if you only get this piece, is that mostly, and this crisis is actually showing us where our gaps are in our leadership, because we realize as leaders that we're not equipped to manage the emotional journey of others or ourselves. And it's only because we've disconnected from our feelings and emotions a long time ago. And over time, we've learned, even before, many years ago, we've learned that kind of like it's a product of history, that feelings and emotions are left at the door and they don't go with business, right? And so what we're learning now in business is that people are human beings and they have feelings and emotions. And when something like this happens, it brings this to the front. And while we knew it before that emotional intelligence is important, it's starkly obvious now. Yes? And while it was a nice to have before, it's no longer a nice to have. Leaders are realizing that they're ill-equipped to help people move through this time. But it's not only a crisis or a pandemic where we need emotional intelligence. It's a moment by moment dance where we can help someone create a space and facilitate a conversation where someone can find their empowerment again as a coach, leader as coach, manager as coach, influencer as coach. So the point I want to make here is that your job to be an effective leader and someone that people want to follow and someone who can create leaders is that you need to get really good at being able to understand your feelings and emotions so that you can know your reactions and so that you can support the emotional and feeling journey of someone else in your team or in your influence circles. Yes? And what that requires is listening and questions and presence. And when you do that, you can dance with people. And when they're disempowered, you don't collapse into them, you don't avoid them, you can dance with them. Let them be where they are, hold space for their emotions and their feelings, and they will rise like the cork to the top of the ocean in that space. You don't have to fix it, you don't have to change it, you don't have to avoid them until they get better. You can actually facilitate a process where they can find their empowerment really quickly. But you can only do that when you know this stuff, yeah? Did everyone get that point? I hope so, because that was a really important point. So the point is, make sure that you understand how to allow space for your own emotions and feelings so that you can facilitate a space where others can move through theirs and rise again. Because you don't have to make them rise. Motivation is outdated. You've got to help them reconnect with their own inspiration. Yeah. Thank you, Georgie. Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. All right. So then the last one. This is good. Our empowerment is nothing to apologise for. We have to laugh, right? It's nothing to apologise for. Our empowerment is nothing to apologise for. Own it, love it, be it. As someone said earlier about Mandela's quote, shine the light so others can see that it's possible. The first thing that we do is we feel like we're going to get judged because we're standing out, because we're shining, so we start to clip our wings. But when we know all this stuff and know it's not our job to make others happy or feel better, it's not our job to clip our wings, it's not our job to make their journey easier, it's our job to facilitate a space where they can find their own empowerment. That's the elegance of leadership that most of us don't understand or haven't practiced. And it's really exciting to me, these conversations, because this is the conversation I have with leaders every day. And when they do this work, they realize what they've been missing out on. And it's kind of like magic. It's like magic dust. When they start to do this work, things start to change in the way that they can engage and connect and build trust with their people. Their people start to open up and perform in new ways that they didn't even know was possible, right? So those 7 things are really important. Any questions on that? Because I want to give you the 3 circles of power now, and I've got 15 minutes. I've got a question. Oh, that was you, Vicky, saying you're a little late, but you're here. Thank you. Love it. Excellent. Making sense. So you've got the 7 real truths, right? Let's call them the 7 real truths, because that makes more sense, doesn't it? These are the truths of empowerment. All right. I'm going to rub this off. Excellent. All right. So it's not your job to apologize for your empowerment. Be the light. Yeah. So just reflect on your notes for a moment while I do this. Any questions or anything you want me to go deeper on before I go to the next piece? Incredibly powerful. Excellent. Thank you, Jazz. Very useful. Thank you, Rachel. I'm glad you have that acknowledged. Excellent. Okay. All right. I'd love to hear your sharing in the chat box. Let me know some insights or any questions or reflections. What's taken you deeper? What have you realized? All right. So the last piece here I want to give you is like, okay, so we've done what is power. We've done why is it important. We've done what happens when we don't have it. And then you've got the 7 real truths that are about power for you to remember what empowerment is and where empowerment stops and codependency starts. And the core piece of empowerment, which is if I can make space for all of myself and own all of myself equally, then if I do that work, then I can facilitate a space for others to find their own empowerment. All right, good. So the way that the reflection piece here for you is about, these are the 3 power circles. Because now this is the useful piece about, okay, so now how do I do this? What do I need to know? How can I check myself, right? So the first circle is about the source of our power. Okay, so this is what I would call power source. Okay, I'm going to try blue. So this is power source. So this is knowing, I'll do that over here. Can you see this? I'm the source of my power. Not really. What I might do is I'll do the 3 circles first. So power source is first. The source of my power, I'll come back to that in a sec. Power up is about the energy that I let in. So is it powering me up or not? Okay, so we'll come back to that in a second. And then this one is about power out. Who am I giving my power to? As in, where am I investing my energy? Am I doing it in a way where I'm not attached, I'm actually committed and they can take it or leave it? Yeah, I'm not attached to what they do with it. And who is it that I want to do that with and who is it that I don't? Being really clear about that. So the 3 circles: power source, power up and power out. Yep. So power source is about I'm the source of my own power. So I'm just going to write this and you're just going to understand that it's in this circle, right? So I'm the source. And that goes back to the rituals and routines and the emotional webinar that I've done, that we've done together. And so how do I keep filling myself up? So I'm filling my own cup. And so I've got an exciting announcement. Don't go anywhere, anyone, because I've got an exciting announcement. I'm going to say it now. We've just launched my YouTube channel, and all of the breakfast events, if you haven't been to them, are on the YouTube channel. How exciting. And so in a moment, Georgie, yay, I know, it's so exciting. Georgie's done some amazing work on this. We've worked on this together. It's really, really exciting. And I will be adding to it every week, if not more. And all of the breakfast events are going there. After this one, we'll give you 2 weeks to watch it and then we'll make it public. But all of the other breakfast events are there. So anyone that you want to watch, and lots of other videos for leaders and teams about how to communicate and connect and engage, and all sorts of stuff is there. So go and have a look. Not yet, stay here for the next 10 minutes. We'll put the link up soon. But filling my own cup, so go to the rituals and routines webinar. And we'll also be cutting the webinars up a little bit, so you've got short grabs of a few minutes at a time as well of the key pieces. So this is all about the power source, right? How am I supporting myself? That's my responsibility. The minute that I go out of my state of clean self-empowerment, I know that there's something missing for me and that I'm not taking care of myself because I'm starting to project on another. Yes, I'm projecting blame, I'm projecting excuses, all that stuff. And we all do that. Right? So it's just knowing. So power source. You'll have ideas about how you fill your cup. Right, so make sure that you're doing that. And also where am I getting that? Where am I getting my source from? Okay, so then powering up, yeah, is the energy I'm letting in. So this is about who am I letting in and how far am I letting them in? This is about, do I set boundaries and honor them? Yeah. Do I speak up for myself? I was chatting with someone this week in one of my coaching sessions about speaking up for herself sooner. And so she's a CEO in the disability and aged care area. And obviously at this point in time, there's a lot going on and she's giving and giving a lot. And she's a nurturer anyway. Amazing woman, incredible what they've done at this time, especially, and really inspiring leader and a very caring, deeply caring leader. But what she's realizing is that she's not speaking up for herself sooner at home when she needs a bit of space. So can you speak up for yourself a little bit sooner if you're a nurturer? And if you're a dictator or a director or a type A type personality, a strong, dominant personality, then can you actually speak up in a way that doesn't trample all over people? I can say that because that's sometimes what I do still and who I used to be. So can we speak up in a way that's has compassion with it and understanding and listening, right? And also, am I setting clear expectations? So our expectations with each other of who I'm letting in is very clear. Okay. Thank you, Mel. Makes you excited. The YouTube channel, love it. And then the power out. Who am I giving my energy to? Is everyone still with me? Yep. Who am I giving my energy to? So this is who am I letting in? Are they powering me up? Does it feel good to be around them? And if they're disempowered state, can I stay in my energy and not collapse into their energy? So that's about boundaries. Yeah. And then power out, who am I giving my energy to? So this is my choice, right? And how much? And so if I have a team member who's disempowered or someone in my circle of influence is disempowered, do I invest half an hour every day and go and sit with them and try and make them feel better? Well, that's opposite to what we've been talking about today, isn't it? So just checking in with yourself. Who am I giving it to and how much am I giving? Am I giving it in a way that's committed or attached? And is it true connection or is it codependency? So there's a lot of things there that you can use from today to help you understand because sometimes you need to give your energy to someone who's disempowered, but it's about how you do that and in what state you do that. Yeah. So your choice and how I do that. How much am I investing? Okay, so what was the last point? Yeah, so when we're giving it to, one of the keys here is no expectation of return, right? So often our love or our generosity or our giving can be conditional, even with our partners or in our family environment, and especially at work. I'll do this if we're expecting a return. I'll train this person, I'm expecting a return. But can we actually commit and give without, and have expectations that are agreed, but not expectations that aren't agreed, or that are silent expectations that are going to trip that relationship up? So if you've got expectations, you need to make sure that you speak them and are very clear about them, make sure the other person's understood them. So, because then that allows that there's no expectation of, or silent expectations to trip you up. Because often when we're giving and we have expectations, we don't get what we want back, but we didn't ever speak it. Yeah. So being very clear about speaking your expectations so that there's an aligned energy together. Does this make sense? I've got 5 minutes. Give me a thumbs up, making sure this makes sense. I've got a question in the Q&A box. No, that's still you, Vicky. Answered. Okay, go away. All right. Let me know that this is working for you, that you're getting some value out of this. The last, I know, Vicky, that's me using technology. Now, the last piece I want you to do is reflect on this. Out of the 3 circles, power source, power up, power out, where do you need to make a shift? Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to do that right now. Take this moment now while you're here. Power up, power out, or your power source do you need to shift or invest more in? Go. Power up. Okay, feel free to type in the chat box what you're going to be focusing on. Power source, power up, or power out. What shifts do you need to make? Power out expectations. Very good, Anne. Power out, do not engage with make wrongs. Stay in my power. Antonella, good job. Yes, stay in your power. Let them do their thing. Trigger, flip out. We can have compassion. Yeah, but we don't need to collapse or buy into it or defend or protect. Just stay in our empowerment. Because when we get triggered, that's our responsibility. Yeah, well done, Antonella. Power up, power up. Lots of power ups. Boundaries, yeah. I'm amazingly brilliant. It's a co-creation, Rachel. I thank you for your acknowledgement. I really appreciate that. Is it possible to need to work on all 3? Kath, absolutely. Absolutely. And maybe identifying where you are as a leadership style, for example, the nurturer, the dictator, the loner sometimes, that might help you understand why this has happened for you and that you know, all 3 right now are maybe needing some work, and that's completely fine. Power source, filling my cup, all 3. Yep. Power out. Yeah. Very good. Well done. I really, really acknowledge you all for taking that time to reflect. Okay. All right. I've got 1 minute. So what do I want to say? So YouTube channel, Georgie, can you put the link in the chat box, please? Identifying working on my making wrong. Yes. And so if you search in YouTube, Karen Williams, which is such a popular name, if you just search Karen Williams, you might get some other things. Karen Williams, leadership coach. I'm pretty sure that will come up, or Karen Williams, I think, confidence. but you'll find me anyway. We'll send the link to you, but if you search that in Google, you should find me. There's a bunch of videos there already, and as I said, we'll be adding to them. We've got a few more to put up over the next couple of days, but there's lots of things in there for leaders and teams as well as specific things for women in leadership, and all the breakfast events so far are there as well. How exciting. I'm so excited to share it all with you. And it's, you know, after I got off the session last week, I thought, oh, I wanted to keep talking to you. How do I reconnect back with you? And so I feel like YouTube is one of those ways that we can stay connected, and you can see all the stuff that's going up every week. So I hope it's been helpful. I'm going to leave the chat box open for you to share your reflections. You know that I love your comments and really welcome your feedback. And I want to hear what you're implementing and what's working for you. An hour goes by really quickly. If you'd like to talk to me about coaching or working with your teams or doing some virtual training and development, please get in touch. And my website's KarenWilliams.com and Karen@KarenWilliams.com. Lovely connecting with you again. Happy Friday. Sending heart love to you, and enjoy your reflections. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye, everyone. Oh, thank you, Elle. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Vicky. Vicky White wants a bigger whiteboard. This is a small whiteboard, White. You actually need a much bigger one, about 3 times as big as this one. Thanks, everyone. Wonderful to connect with you. Take care. Have a great day.